Bonjour, bonsoir, good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending this event. My name is Bénédicte Collin, and I'm the president of the French Chamber of Commerce and Industry. It is really my honor and privilege today to interview Luc Rémont, Executive Vice President, International Operations of Schneider Electric, and a member of the Executive Committee. Luc, prior to joining Schneider, Luc was a director of the Corporate and Investment Bank of America, Merrill Lynch in France from 2009. He also held several positions in the French Ministry of Economy and Finance. And Luc brings a wealth of experience in infrastructure, operation, and financing, both from a private and public sector perspective. Luc, welcome. We are very happy to have you around and to give you generously some time to us. Before we start the interview, I also wanted to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which I sit today and pay my respect to their elders, past and present. I also extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander of people here. I also would like to thank the French Embassy, Austrade, and our naming sponsors, Schneider Electric, thank you, Luc, and all the other sponsors and partners for making this event possible. Thank you, Luc, us today, and perhaps less traveling than usual in your normal schedule. So let me first fire and kick off with a question, and really asking you that, in your role, you've got exposure to numerous countries and cities and really a large portion of the globe. How do you think COVID has impacted cities, and what trends have you observed?
Well, thank you, Bénédicte, first for this opportunity to discuss together and to share with the French and Australian and New Zealand Chamber of Commerce community. I have to say that I would have preferred to be down under with you, as I usually do every quarter. But clearly this time we all go digital, and that's probably the common thread that we have all been in the last 6 months. After my last trip to Australia in March, I went back to France to enjoy lockdown as everyone. So that's the new trend we are in. And of course, the cities are going to have adapted themselves to that during the crisis time. And we are just at the beginning of the lessons learned, for sure. What I can share is that what I've seen across many geographies is pretty different, actually, in the way the COVID impacts cities, depending on the level of standard of living of each of the cities, depending on their structure, their number of inhabitants, level of infrastructures, and the lessons learned are just starting. Of course, we are seeing people wanting to get access to better living standard when they have to stay home for a very long time, which might lead to some pressure to go to suburbs. But we are seeing at the same time some consistent trends to keep cities equipped and centered with some community villages inside the cities. So these are elements that are just starting, and it will probably take years to get the full lessons on what COVID has changes in the cities. I think the very clear trend is that cities will continue to exist. Cities will continue to develop themselves because this is the place where people can gather, do economy, live together, and so on and so forth. But to be able to continue their development, they will have to be more reliable, they will have to be more safe, and they will have to provide an environment which enables people to enjoy their lives and provide security whenever human catastrophes like COVID is one may occur. And that's clearly a trend that we are seeing everywhere. Now, I'm also seeing cities that are just living as before, despite an outbreak of the virus in the city that is more than thousands a day. And that's clearly more the case of emerging markets. And for these cities, the lessons learned will be different, most likely. What will definitely most likely disappear is the unorganized development of cities with unhealthy housing in the centers. This will have a tremendous pressure everywhere, I think, in the future. So that's what I can. Yeah.
So some people have been talking about the death of CBDs and the rise of suburban. What you are saying, it's more like sometime a reset, and there is no generalization, but more it's a case by case depending on the countries.
And the structure of each city as well. And I start to know a little bit the cities of Down Under. Clearly, you have very large cities that are also pretty spread over large suburbs with very big suburbs with people that have single dwelling habitation. And that's kind of cities, of course, are quite sustainable in this environment. Because when you live in single dwelling, of course, your exposure to the virus is less important. So this kind of setup is probably more reliable from a health standpoint than many other places like Mumbai. I spent 1 month in Mumbai last month. In Mumbai, of course, everyone is completely packed into a very small, geographically spread city with 20 million plus inhabitants. And of course, you would imagine that controlling the virus in this environment is much more challenging.
So according to you, what is an attractive city of the future, and how is Schneider Electric best placed for fostering the development of attractive cities?
Well, I think to be attractive, the cities will need to build, as a company has to work on its value proposition, the city has to, and the cities will have to work on their value proposition to their inhabitants in the future and to the people who do business in the cities. And I believe that most of the cities are working on that, of course. If I had to think on what would define the attractiveness in the future, I think that sustainability of the city is clearly something that is going to define attractiveness in the future. It already starts to be the case in more and more cities, but this is going to be growing, and that's clearly something that I feel from the interactions we have with all cities in the world. The second element that is going to be driving attractiveness is the absence of disruption as well. But you may say that this is part of sustainability as well. But when you are a city citizen, you want to be part of a community that is sustainable overall. You want to be part of a story that is protecting the future of this environment. But you want also to live your life without disruption. And I think both ways are complementing themselves in building a sustainable and attractive value proposition to the community and to the individuals. So how can we as a company serve this purpose? We are basically working on the components of sustainability that are coming into the city, and we are also working a lot on preventing disruptions in the city. That's thanks to working a lot on the energy management side to provide to the cities the best possible mix of energy sources and users, which means working both on the sourcing of energy in a way that enables the renewable energy and storage to work together with
you.